Kam kauti vaatsalam pankam langayati gram yatkipatatam bandegyolam tinatayanam omagyanatman asyantanansalan slakyam sakshanitam yena tasmai spave namah. Namo Vihe-Bhaktivedanta Krishna Prasthaya Bhutalesh Vihe-Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paschatayani Dasatani. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Today we will continue with Canto 10, Chapter 2. Krishna steals the garments of the unmarried gopis. Text 22 till 28. We will read text 22 again. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Nam Chevam Narottamam Devim Sarvatim Vyasam Tato Jamudiyayat Nastvaya Savatyasu Nityam Bharata Sevya Bhagavati Tamaske Bhakti Bhakti Naiski. Text 22. Tridam Pralabdas Tapaya Sapa Apita Pasto Pida Kritanavatshakarita Vastrani Cheva Paritam Yatatyanam Tanapyasuyam Priyasam Yanivita. Translation. Although the gopis had been totally cheated, deprived of their monastery, ridiculed, and made to act just like toy dolls, and although their clothing had been stolen, they did not feel at all inimical towards Sri Krishna. Rather, they were simply joyful to have this opportunity to associate with their beloved. Purport. Srila Prabhupada comments, this attitude of the gopis is described by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he prays, my dear Lord Krishna, you may embrace me or trample me under your feet, or you make me broken-hearted by never being present before me. Whatever you like, you can do, because you have complete freedom to act, but in spite of all your dealings, you are my Lord eternally, and I have no other worshipful object. This is the attitude of the gopis towards Krishna. The last verse of Sikshastika. So prior to this, there was the Purvarag. But now they had some association with Krishna. And they were completely thrilled that their relationship with Krishna was open. So text 23. Paridaya svavasamsi Paridaya svavasamsi presta sangamatam chita Sheta chita navichelus tasman lalali teksana. The gopis were addicted to associating with their beloved Krishna, and thus they became captivated by him. Thus even after putting their clothes on, they did not move. They simply remained where they were, shyly glancing at him. So this was the reciprocation, the rasa between these gopis and Krishna, and also the ecstasy increased. Purport. By association with their beloved Krishna, the gopis had become more attached to him than ever. Just as Krishna had stolen their clothes, he had also stolen their minds and their love. And Krishna is known as Manohar, that steals the minds of his devotees. That the gopis interpreted the whole incident as proof that Krishna was also attached to them. Otherwise, why would they have gone through the trouble of playing with them in this way? Because they thought that Krishna was now attached to them. They glanced at him with shyness, and being stunned by the rising of their ecstatic love, they could not move from where they stood. Krishna had overcome their shyness and forced them to come out of the water naked, but now having dressed properly, they again became shy in his presence. In fact, this incident increased their humbleness before Krishna. They did not want to see them staring at him, but they cautiously took the opportunity to glance at the Lord. That is text 23. I think we have, we have a commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Just as Krishna had stolen their clothes, he had stolen their minds and their love. But he has stolen their minds. That happens every morning. When Krishna leaves for the forest with the cowherd boys, the gopis, they are hiding in the bushes. In the corners of their eyes they look at Krishna, exchanging loving glances. And then when Krishna leaves for the forest, their bodies remain home, but their minds are going with Krishna. So Krishna steals their mind. So we'll see during the rasa dance when Krishna plays his flute and all these gopis run to the forest. And Krishna says, why did you come? That is in the middle of the night and the forest is so dangerous. You should go home and serve your husbands. And you can think of me, that's the same as being with me. So the gopis were thinking, Krishna wants us to become meditators. But one of the arguments they used to Krishna is, oh, you play your flute, you steal our minds. We are coming here to get back our property. You have stolen our minds. That's one of the arguments they are using. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur continues. This verse describes the gopis as the reservoir of prema. Reservoir of prema. We have no idea yet what prema means. We try to understand it by understanding the mood of the gopis. But this is a reservoir of prema. Vishwanath says, the gopis interpreted the whole incident as proof that Krishna was also attached to him. Always, why should they have gone to this trouble of playing with them in this way? Krishna had overcome their shyness and forced them to come out of the water naked. But now, having dressed properly, they again became shy in his presence. In fact, this incident increased their humbleness before Krishna. They did not want Krishna to see them staring at him, but they cautiously took the opportunity to glance at the Lord. There is the suggestion that the bashfulness pervaded their body more than even previously. Text 24. Tasham Vishnaya Bhagavan Svapada Spashakam Yaya Tritta Vratanam Sankalpan Haudamodara Bala. The Supreme Lord understood the determination of the gopis in executing their strict vow. The Lord also knew that the girls desired to touch his lotus feet, and thus the Lord Damodar, Krishna, spoke to them as follows. So, the Sukadev Goswami calls Krishna still Damodar. He was still very young, 6-7 years. But, so we have again a commentary of Vihe-Bhaktivedanta Thakur. I've noticed that the translation of Bhanu Swami is sometimes different from that from the book from Sarartha Darshini. But I think that at the time that they are writing and composing the 10th canto, the chapters after Srila Prabhupada left this world, and the 11th and the 12th canto, that Bhanu Maharaj helped with translating these commentaries of Srila Vihe-Bhaktivedanta Thakur, which were then used by the BBT to put in at least parts of it in the purport. But in this book, Sarartha Darshini, that is in principle the same commentary of Bhanu Maharaj, but edited by Maniti Swami. And that it seems, for some reason, in the book, sometimes some of the parts of the translation of Bhanu Maharaj are not included, or they are quite different. But I have the separate translation of Bhanu Maharaj here, which is a little bit elaborate than that. So Srila Vihe-Bhaktivedanta Thakur. The gopis could have said here, O Krishna, O topmost enjoyer of loving exchanges, we have now obtained the fruit of our vow because you have created this extraordinary fraud. By that you have driven the very life air of our bodies. Then again, by your mercy, we have become fully satisfied. By making us come out of the water, you have used various clever devices to insult us in every way. Then after draping our garments over your wonderful shoulders, you gave them back to us along with the jewel of your own heart, as expressed in your own words. In response to this, we can only give you our bashful glances. Therefore, because we are simply foolish girls, we cannot discern whether this pleases or offends you. Since you know perfectly well the differences of time, place and persons, you should please speak whatever you desire to say. We will immediately go home upon hearing that. Desiring to answer them, the Supreme Omniscient Lord and spoke in 3 verses. Now we will hear these 3 verses. So they felt all that happened was Krishna's kindness. And all they could offer was their bashful glances. Now there are 3 verses by Krishna, and then the pastime closes. I read the first 3 verses, the English translation, and then we will come back. So I will read them all 3 first. So we will start with, 25. It's 25. And this is the 3 verses spoken by Krishna. Sankalpo vidya satyo bhavati namat akshanam mayanu modita so satyo bhavtamarati. Lord Krishna said, O saintly girls, I understand that your real motive in this austerity has been to worship me. That intent of yours is approved by me, and indeed it must come to pass. Namaya vasita diyam kama kamaya kalapate bhakchita kavita dana payo vichaya nesate. The desire of those who fix their minds on me does not lead to material desire for sense gratification, just as barley corns burnt by the sun and then cooked can no longer grow into new sprouts. Yata bala vracham sida mayem aram sita ksapa yad usya vratam metam shiro ayakshanam sati. Go now, girls, and return to Vraj. Your desire is fulfilled. For in my company you will enjoy the coming nights. After all, this was the purpose of your vow, to worship the goddess Katyayani, O pure-hearted ones. So, we'll first read the purport of 25. Just as Krishna is free of all impure desires, so are the gopis. Their attempt to gain Krishna as their husband was thereby motivated not by desire for personal sense gratification, but by their overwhelming desire to serve Krishna and to please him. Because of their intense love, the gopis did not see Krishna as God, but rather as the most wonderful boy in all creation. And being beautiful young girls, they desired only to please him by loving service. Lord Krishna understood the pure desire of the gopis and was thus satisfied. The Lord could certainly not be satisfied by ordinary lust, but he was moved by the intense loving devotion of the cowherd girls of Vrindavan. So the desire was to be intimately connected with Krishna as husband and wife. They wanted to be yours in that intimate way. They performed for this purpose the Katyayani Vrata. So Lord Krishna in verse 25 explains that it will happen. In verse 26 he explains why it will happen. So Krishna said, yes, I will fulfill, your desire will be fulfilled. This is difficult to attain, but because of the gopis' desire to please him, because of their complete surrender, they gained this jewel they wish to possess. And this will not lead to material desires. So, I read text 25 again. O saintly girls, understand that your real motive in the austerity has been to worship me. That intent of me is approved by me, and indeed it must come to pass. There is a commentary of Sridhar Swami on the 25th verse. O saintly girls, your desire was to worship me, and even out of embarrassment you did not state this outright. And it is approved of by me, and it deserves to become true. By using the word arati, must or deserves, which expresses probability, it is hinted that it would not necessarily be perpetual, because you will be going, because Krishna will be going to Mathura. So that is Sridhar Swami. Now, I see, because especially on these verses, there seems to be quite a difference and different insights from the same verses. That so I have here Vihe-Bhaktivedanta. Yeah, verse 625. Krishna said to chaste women, Thou, out of modesty, you have not mentioned that your real purpose, sankalpa, in worshipping me, not archana, was to please me. I know and I accept it. Because your desire was pure, it will be fulfilled. Since I am controlled by prema, nothing is impossible for me. Prema bhaktis, there is nothing impossible for my prema bhaktis to attain. At this point, the Kripa Sakti mercy potency made the Lord's power more evident among the gopis. Though the power was still under the control of prema and subject to the pastimes. Interesting. So this sentence says here, Vihe-Bhaktivedanta said, yeah. The Kripa Sakti potency made the Lord's power more evident among the gopis. But this power is under control of prema and subject to the pastime. That means that the prema, the lila shakti, that are controlling Krishna also. By this power, Krishna understood the gopis were performing austerities in the worship of Katyayani to attain him, and thus he gave them the results. Gargamuni said that Krishna was similar to Narayan, but now the gopis thought of Krishna as Narayan. They came to the right point that so this means that the love of the residents of Vrindavan controls Krishna so much. It forces him to act as he is not the omniscient, all-powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead, but acts as he is just a cowboy. Their love is at such a level that it controls Krishna. He was fully absorbed in the Katyayan Vrata pastime. We will read text 26 and purport again. 26. The desire of those who fix their mind on me does not lead to material desire for sense gratification, just as barley corns burnt by the sun and then cooked can no longer grow into new sprouts. That is an important analogy, I would say. But the word Maya, Vesita, the Yam are very significant here. Unless one has achieved an advanced degree of devotion, one cannot fix the mind and intelligence on Krishna, since Krishna is pure spiritual existence. Self-realization is a state of not of desireless, but rather of purified desire, wherein one desires only the pleasure of Lord Krishna. The gopis were certainly attracted to Krishna in a mood of conjugal love, and yet having fixed their minds and indeed their entire existence completely on Krishna, their conjugal desire could never manifest as material lust. Rather, it became the most exalted form of Godhead ever seen within the universe. So this comment gives hope, and also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this verse gives more hope. His commentary, Vishwanath. Krishna said, if someone worships me impurely or improperly, I can make that offering pure, because I'm full of good qualities. What then to say about your absolutely pure desire and pure love? The desire of one absorbed in me does not lead to material desires for sense gratification. Because the object of love is a topmost spiritual entity, it results in the disappearance of material desire, just as barley corn roasted in the fire can never grow new sprouts. The word praya here means just as. Another reading of neshyate is nesyate. This is a traditional usage according to Shikshuka, the famous impersonalist commentator. So, by devotional service, Krishna will reveal our impurities. Text 27. 27. Go now, girls, and return to Vraj. Your desire is fulfilled, for in my company you will enjoy the coming night. After all, this was the purpose of your vow to worship Goddess Katyayani, O pure-hearted ones. But so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment that so bearing in mind that the most auspicious time for a lover's first tryst is the night, Krishna speaks like this to the gopis. Krishna said, O women, although you are all perfected Siddha beings, we said Nitya Siddhas before, here what Krishna says it, you have taken the role of sadhakas to increase the sweetness of my pastime on earth. In the near future, you will enjoy with me and thus fulfill the purpose for which you undertook austerities in worshipping Durga or pure women. But that is 27. Now the last verse. Sishuka Vacha Ityadista Bhagavata Lapta Kama Kumarika Tayantas Tatpadam Bojam Kitchan Vishu Vajam. Sukadev Goswami said, thus instructed by Supreme Personality of Godhead, the young girls, their desires now fulfilled, could bring themselves only with great difficulty to return to the village of Vraj, meditating all the while on his lotus feet. Purport. The gopis' desire was fulfilled because Lord Krishna had agreed to act as their husband. A young girl can never spend the night with any man except her husband, and thus when Krishna agreed to engage the girls in the nocturnal rasa dance during the coming autumn season, in effect he was agreeing to reciprocate their love for him in the role of a husband. Now, text 28. And a short purport. It was very difficult for the gopis to return to Vraj, because Krishna had already stolen their hearts, eyes, and other senses. Good. Now I want you to hear this pastime again in 5-6 minutes. And this, I have a recording here, I think it should go, of Bhujam Prabhu on the poetic presentation of Kavikarna Prabhu. So please hear, I will play it now.
When Krishna hands back the clothes of the gopis, we'll start from there again. Krishna said, "You have greatly pleased me, and I feel the utmost limit of love for you. Dress yourself in your clothes, which are redder than pomegranate flowers. May you drown in the ocean of ecstasy according to your individual tastes of love." After saying this, Krishna extended his hand to give each gopi her respective clothes. The good fortune of the Vraja Kumaris thus surpassed that of the goddess of fortune. Holding their shimmering dresses in their hands, the gopis looked like clusters of golden lotuses bedecked with colored flags. They appeared very beautiful. Then they carefully put on their clothes that were nicely scented from the touch of Krishna's lotus hand. Glancing shyly at Krishna, their golden lotus faces bloomed with beauty. Their bodies trembled pleasurably from the excitement of finally achieving his association. Tasting the topmost happiness, the gopis stood there, steeped in affection. Even without touching Krishna, they felt his powerful embrace. Abandoning his gravity, that means unless Krishna reveals his mind, because he is so deeply grave, unless he reveals his mind, no one can understand his thoughts. Abandoning his gravity, expressing his own true deep thoughts, the young prince of Vrindavan spoke compassionately to the young girls. "I knew everything before the desired tree of your determination sprouted. I have performed this astonishing pastime just to increase your love. By ordering you harshly, attracted to me, you submissively obeyed my beneficial orders, and therefore I have manifested eternal love within your hearts. Your desire is pure, eternally existent and laden with rasa. I reciprocate differently with people in the mundane world. If a pure-hearted person displays such intense desires, I will transform those desires into prema. Then he will taste the blissful nectar derived from experiencing my qualities. This well of nectar exists independently of any other type of rasa. Even Lakshmi Devi hankers for the love that you have so clearly displayed. Just as rice paddy that is boiled in water or fried in fire can never show the qualities of the seed, similarly, the lusty desires of the common people can never sprout in the ocean of such supreme rasa. After hearing Krishna speak, the thoughtful girls appeared beautified with the sweet fragrance of the vine of fickleness. Accepting the words of their dearmost as truth, the gopis experienced both immeasurable joy and agitation due to their intense longing for Krishna. Then, the gopis cried tears of happiness that seemed like the fluid dripping from the ears of a lust-crazed elephant. Without responding to Krishna, the gopis just stood for some time with a disturbed look in their eyes. Now that their vrata was finished, they felt surcharged with love and felt incredible bliss. They murmured amongst themselves, their voices as sweet as cooing birds. Krishna spoke again. Now return to Vrindavan. Soon we will enjoy together during a festive night. You've attained eternal perfection, so stop whispering like thirsty chataki birds. With their sidelong glances and lips trembling in love, the gopis appeared to be covering Krishna with a shower of blue lotus petals and newly unfurled leaves. Pacified and pleased, the gopis then returned to Vrindavan with great difficulty. Srimad Bhagavatam.
So this is the end of this pastime. We will have a shorter class today because I don't want to continue, because the next section of this day, the last section of this chapter, is already related to the next pastime. That the next pastime, the Brahman's wives get Krishna's blessings. So, any questions? Any comments on this very beautiful pastime? Yes, Mother Sitaram.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was just looking at the contrast and how the gopis behaved and how I would behave. And actually, Krishna is trying to kind of, take away certain attachment, or Krishna is trying to, make me more surrendered. They see it as mercy, and whereas when that happens to me, then I see it as something undesirable, or I resent it. So, just looking at this, and they are so thankful for what he did. They're actually thinking that he is so merciful. It's just amazing to see their mood.
Yeah, it's like you are so absorbed in something, and all the rest becomes We are becoming oblivious about all the other things. They are so focused, and they were so focused on their relationship with Krishna. Their mind was stolen, Manohar, completely absorbed. And they didn't see anything else and anything else that like happiness and distress is for them the same, because this happiness and distress in this world distract their minds from Krishna. So they are so fixed that no interest in anything in this world not related to Krishna. But, it's a very advanced position they have. Because we heard when they were in the water, we get that insight by the comments of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that it's cold and so on, and this is embarrassing and so on, but they are joking with each other, they are enjoying it. That also here at the end they didn't want to leave Krishna. They displayed more a very humble position. That these are some insights in the consciousness of the advanced Bhakti Yoga ways of attained prema that we gain from this pastime. That's so valuable. Thank you. Any other comments? Yes. Lalita Pitimai, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in text 26, Krishna is saying that the desires of those who fix their minds on me does not lead to material desire for sense gratification. And we see that after so many years passing in Krishna consciousness, but if we still have the desires for sense gratification, so this means that we have not fixed our mind on Krishna. So how do we aim towards that, Maharaj? Like total on focus towards Krishna.
Well, I would say if you have a material desire, that we can say the material desire is still there, but is it the same? That it's like my experience is that by the sadhana, the material desire becomes, the power behind the material desire to execute it and so on is surely taken away. And still it's not there, it's still there. But we are not so eager for it than before. You know, if I fulfill it, it's going to cause me a lot of problems. And yes, you feel still some attraction. It's still there, but it's not the same as before. That the mind, the intelligence makes still plans, but many times she will say, no, I don't do it. So it's what I want to say is, it's not black and white. It's not after chanting all these years that the material desire is still there, but it doesn't have the same power anymore. That it surely dissipates, but it takes time. That our attitude towards the world is changing gradually. That yes. So that I don't know if that's your experience, but after many years chanting, still something in the consciousness that
Sometimes it's like it has gone and it has not come back for so many months or weeks. And some or the other point, after some time, while reading or while chanting, it suddenly again comes to the mind. And for few weeks it goes away, and again it comes, and it disturbs the mind so much. So I'm not able to see whether it's gone totally or whether coming and again disturbing. So it's still in a full-fledged, it's in my heart. I'm not able to decide, and I don't know what to do for that, Maharaj.
Yeah, that is sure. We are in a material world, and and everything we experience in this world is made of the three modes of material nature. And these modes, that's, if you are materially conscious, that's what your consciousness is influenced by. And we are still in the material world. So desires will come and go. They come and go, but the question is, it comes, and am I going to grab it and do it? Or do I observe and say, maybe, maybe not, maybe not. And the power of Krishna consciousness gives us the power to say no to it. It's still there, but we have the power to say no if we have a good sadhana. If you don't have a good sadhana, then the material desire is going to control you. So that's if you read Bhagavad Gita 270, Apuryananam Achalapatishtam Samudranapa Pravishanta Sarve. If you read that verse, you will understand that still desires are there. They come into the mind, but we don't identify with it. And sometimes in the weak moment, we may identify and do the wrong thing. But if we have a good sadhana, Krishna will protect us. And we'll be able to say no to it. But yeah, everyone, Krishna says everyone, from the ant to Brahma, is influenced by these modes, is influenced by these desires. So are we going to say, oh, Brahma is influenced, but I'm free? No? Everyone. But it's the question how to deal with the material nature, with that desire in your mind. Does that help to understand that a bit more deeply?
Yes, Maharaj. It's your answer is very helpful. Could you please mention the verse number, Maharaj? Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter?
70.
70.
70. Yeah.
70. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Mother Kastulika.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have the question on the same text. So how do we relate this verse to akama, sarvakama, moksha kama? Because there is an
yeah. Which
there is an text 26 where Krishna says the desire to fix their minds on me does not lead to material desire.
Yeah.
And in the Bhagavatam, in the 2nd canto, when Sukadeva Goswami says that whether you have desires or no desires, you still worship Krishna.
Yeah. Kama, moksha, kama, udaya, trivena bhakti yogana, purusham param. But we are full of material desires. Or you have no material desires, or you desire liberation. It doesn't matter. You perform with great power bhakti yoga, devotion, service. So it means, yes, to take up devotional service, you must not be pure in heart. That's what this verse means. So you perform devotional service. And then you will come to that platform that if you have material desires, Shato Vitabhajantamam Yechana Sekretarina Archiknasha Artartijan Satar Bharshava. There are 4 kinds of people with material desires who approach me, and Krishna says they are great souls. So you have material desires, and you perform devotional service. But if one wants, there are 2 positions here in the heart which are important. That sakam or nishkam. I have material desires, but I don't want them. That's nishkam. I only want to please Krishna. But when you are sakam, I want to fulfill my desires, and you approach Krishna, then yes, what's going to happen? Krishna will fulfill your material desires. But he will fulfill your material desires, but for the devotee who is really wanting to make spiritual advancement, he also will fulfill your material desires. Krishna is like a well-wishing tree, that whatever you want, it will fulfill your material desires. But if we are serious in devotional service, then it fulfills your material desires and takes them away. It's magical. Because you become so satisfied by devotional service that you don't want them anymore. And then these material desires may still be there to a certain extent, but they become like these barley seeds which are burnt. They will never produce a plant anymore. They are burnt. So a devotee who is serious in his devotional service, he loses his interest in sense gratification. I don't want it anymore. I may still, by force of material nature, forced to act according to these desires, but I don't want it. But I cannot control my senses. It goes beyond me. It's too strong. But I don't want it. About such a devotee, Krishna says that my devotee, that who does even abominable things, that is still a sadhu. So that struggle will be there. That's by Srila Vishwanath Thakur. That is explained as Bhajana Kriya. Sometimes we are overcome by the senses, sometimes not. Sometimes we can control it. But gradually, by the purification, you come above that. And then anartha nivritti starts, cleansing of the heart. And then it starts to go better. But it takes some time. Yes. So it doesn't matter that we have these material desires, but the predominant factor in our acting must be there to please Krishna, one way or another. Does that help, Mother Kastuni?
Yes, Maharaj, but I don't understand why Krishna need to tell to gopis this particular shloka. Because is it that the gopis acted in this way because Krishna desired? That's why it's not material desire anymore?
Well, they were nitya siddhas, but they were acting as sadhakas. Always thinking of Krishna as sadhakas. And Krishna answered in that sense to teach us that if you do your sadhana nicely, then that will happen. These seeds will be burned. So these pastimes are not only there for the gopis, they are there for us. Krishna speaks to us also. Yes, because he says, Krishna, it's in the purport that of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, where Krishna says to the gopis, you are perfected, you are siddhas, means nitya siddhas. That's the proof. He says it, he uses that word, siddhas. So they are perfect. They do not need these instructions. But they took the position of sadhaka. And Krishna explains, yes, that's very good. Then this seed of material desire, it will be burned. So the burnt seed is still there. So the material desire is still there. But it will not be executed. So, unless in extraordinary situations we are overcome by the senses. Sometimes that may happen if our sadhana is weak. But otherwise, yeah. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. So, Mahaswingya Prabhu, please.
Yes, Maharaj, it is amazing experience, and yes, I am confident, and I have hope, and I am seeing that how this works. Actually, it looks very difficult, and it looks unbelievable, and it looks magical also. But yes, this magic works. This is amazing. This is amazing. This works, and amazing people we have, which are beyond the conception of this material world. The experiences which we can't think of in this world, those experiences are available in this movement, and selfless relationships, and the real transcendental, and it is difficult to comment because the topics which you are discussing is beyond the imagination and my conception also. But yes, I am hearing that it will purify. That is the philosophy says it will purify, and I should constantly try. So I am trying my best, but struggling because due to my conditioning and my impure senses and mind, and but I have full confidence that this is true and it will work. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that confidence is important. But of course, Srila Prabhupada said many times, this is a science. You have to practice it. If you practice it, then gradually the result will come. And it's a process that with stages, which are explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and the result will be there. But the proof is the experience factor.
Yes, that confidence I am getting, I am having full confidence. I have seen so many things, I have experienced. So the confidence is there. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So then tomorrow we will start with a new pastime, the blessing of the wives of the Brahmins, which is in which we have very interesting lessons also. And that will then really lead us for next week to the Govardhan Puja, that pastime, which is very ecstatic. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj.